Welcome to Mobile Armor Radio, the podcast for all things Mecha. Jumpship incoming.
Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of Mobile Armor Radio. Episode 24. Wow.
Second year done, right?
Second year done. Yeah, that's two laps.
Holy Jesus.
Holy cats. Time flies.
We're going to be retiring soon.
We got to get some sponsors going here, guys.
I guess so. Well, I'm one of your hosts, Brian.
I'm Chopper.
And I'm Rob.
And so we're got a pretty exciting episode for you today. As we have all been very busy. Yeah.
This is our third episode during the pandemic, during the lockdown.
Yeah, I think so.
Pandemic.
I would think we'd be a little more productive, but Jesus.
Right.
Yeah, this time even I didn't do anything.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves, let's head on over to the dropship and get the official word.
Boom.
Dropship landing.
Alright, so, welcome to the dropship. This is the section of the show where we talk about what we've been working on. And so, in terms of like hobby and modeling and whatnot, so I'll throw it over to Rob. What have you been able to work on?
Actually, this stuff I have stuff to talk about because I did do a long time. It was last summer actually. I went to a comic book convention and somebody was selling a old metal set of Battletech miniatures. The Clan Median set, so I had that, and I painted them up like Clan Ghost Bear, so I just finished those guys. Blue and lighter blue color scheme. And I also, somewhere along the line, picked up the original Plastech, like really old school, original plastic Battletech miniatures. And I was like, well, I'll make them some downbeaten Merc group. So I randomly went through all the Mercs, and I made them Ajax's Avengers. Which, after doing them, I'm like, oh, they're the Cleveland Browns colors. It's orange, brown, and white. So
Nice.
whoever made Ajax's Avengers was a Cleveland Brown fan. But so I did those ones like that. Actually, one of them, for my Phoenix Hawk, one of his missile packs was missing, and I actually used the other one and molded up another of his backpacks and was able to do that. I have a 3D printer now. Now I would just 3D print it, but back then I just molded a new one, and it turned out really good. So now he's got two backpacks, two thrusters on his back like he should. So I did that. So I got those sets of those guys. It's the Ajax's Avengers is 1.5 lances. I thought it'd be kind of cool to make them. Maybe I'll do some tanks or something, so it'll be a mixed lance. And unfortunately, I don't know why they do this, but for the clans, they always sell them in 4s, even though clans always in stars or 5s, so there's only 4 in my Ghost Bear, so I gotta find another clan mech for them.
That's how they get you, just like hot dogs.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Just like
It's true.
I was going to make some kind of clan snide remark, but that hot dog thing got it.
Yeah, so I'd have to buy 5 sets to make six groups, right? Is that the way it works? Yeah.
Another mistake. Another reason they hate the clans.
Merchandising.
Since last time, I think I didn't talk about it. I 3D printed a Marauder. I did before I did the Mad Cat, but now I did a Marauder also. He turned out pretty cool. I think, I'm sure Pat will talk about that too. And now I'm currently printing a Ed 209 that our friend Beetle sent me files to. And it's huge. I didn't realize this when I started printing this from RoboCop. He is gigantic. He's going to be the biggest thing I've ever printed.
Each 1-to-1 scale?
He's got to be. I think he's 1/6 scale, I would think. And Ed 209 is quite big, so it's going to be huge. Each foot, it pretty much fills up my Ender 3, so each leg.
Wow.
Yeah,
How long is the print each leg?
Each leg is 21 hours.
Whoa!
His body was about 20 hours, and then his other accoutrements are about 10 hours each. So, and 2 of those. So, altogether, it'd be about a week of printing to print this guy up.
His accoutrement, like his ketchup and his mustards?
Not condiments. Other than that, yeah, I think you like that
I'm
one.
just imagining him like, halt, identify yourself. Do you want ketchup or mustard?
Just squirts them with the guns.
Well, it kind of was like ketchup, I guess, when you think about
it probably was ketchup they used for me.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, so that pretty much been playing with my 3D printer. Other than that, I don't think I've done anything else that's mech related. I painted up some other stuff, but mech stuff, not so much. But, yeah, it's been 3D printer-a-thon that's been my hobby lately, so.
I'll have to do an episode about 3D printing and stuff.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot going on. It's the wave of the future.
Alright, well, Pat, how about you? What have you been working on?
Honestly, not too much again, either myself. I've been very, very busy at work. Been picking up a lot of overtime because the wife is not working, so in these times. So, just picking up a little extra so we can still live the way we live. We're not by any means struggling.
That's good to hear.
Not to put anyone at ease, like, oh my God, is he starving? Far from starving.
Yes, he's starving. Send him money.
Far from starving. But then, and the stuff that I have done, worked on, has not been mech related either, so it's not, we can't really talk about it. What?
I was going to say, you printed that Marauder, though.
Oh, yeah, I did print the Marauder, and then thanks to Rob for sending me the files, and it turned out really good, except for I broke the leg and the gun off trying to get all the supports off. But then, the good thing about 3D printing is it moves right back together.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten around to painting it yet, but that'll be on the list. It'll be a whole airbrush thing, and maybe I might even do step-by-step airbrushing.
Nice. That would be cool.
I'm not by far the best painter in the world, but
you're pretty good, man.
I can show nice little tips for people that get started.
Absolutely.
I printed, so the Marauder mech-wise, not really mech-related, but just kind of in sync with your Ed 209. Is it 209 or 309? It's Ed 209.
209, yeah.
I don't know why I had 309 stuck in my head. But I did print the ginormous Battlestar Galactica, which took almost as long as Rob's Ed 209.
Yeah, that thing's huge. That's like, it's, 3 feet long? How long is that thing?
It's about 2.5 feet long.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, close to 3. I mean, it's ginormous. Like just the front section itself came in 2 pieces, and the engine section is in 2 pieces. And the landing bays are also in 2 pieces, so I didn't do a lot of epoxying and stuff like that. There are some holes, and I'm going to green stuff all up, but I'm going to be painting that up too. Hobby-wise, again, didn't do anything mech-related other than the Marauder. So, yeah, that's it for me. Almost nothing.
Brian, please tell us you've done a lot.
Well, it's been a busy month as well. And I think I spoke a bit about my Titans project last time. But if I recall, there was a couple of things I just had to finish up. I think like the leaders of the Maison Labs, I've now painted up a Bosk Ohm and a Jared for the Titans team there, and then finally taking like a bunch of pictures of it, which was a lot of fun. The other thing I kind of did on the painting side of things, I think I might have touched on it as well, is I was painting up a lot of these things for a game called Star Saga, and where the players are kind of these mercenaries, and I went with a Star Wars theme for my main mercenary band. And so I painted up like a Jyn Erso, and I got a BB-8 rolling around, and I painted up one of the guys who's a forge father, who's kind of like a space dwarf. He looked a lot like Rex from Star Wars Rebels, and so I painted him up and gave him a little helmet. It was a really fun kind of creative project that I really enjoyed. I've got a Boba Fett as the devil for the character in Star Saga, and then And then the last one I finished on was I did a Shakti for one of the other characters who's got like mystical spells and stuff. And then I did a Maul for one of the characters named Wrath.
Nice.
So I that was kind of my big kind of painting project. I had a lot of fun doing it. Have all sorts of crazy ideas now of painting up a team that's Clone Wars related. Where it's like Forge Fathers will be clone troopers and Enforcers will be, I think I was going to do them as Death Watch, the Mandalorian forces in the show. So it's been a really fun kind of creative endeavor and plans for future projects. Of course, now I'm just working on painting all the scenery, so I have a full, complete Star Saga game.
Nice.
That looks nice. That's kind of been the other thing. Unfortunately, I haven't broken out my ExFil.End kit yet. It's still kind of sitting there waiting in the wings. But on a strange tangent, so I'll preface this by saying I really have never gone dumpster diving before.
Just to make sure people realize I'm not that kind of person.
I want to preface this. Literally, like, the other day, like 2 days ago, outside my apartment complex, someone's been throwing out couches, and which is now against the rules. But, like, gently set on top of one of these couches was in a bag was the Lego kit for the Saturn V rocket.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's like a $250 kit.
Was it complete?
It looks complete. It wasn't in a box.
They just set it there and forgot to pick it up?
I think someone was throwing this thing away.
It's probably some mother was just like, oh, this kid's never going to build this, and then you're like, yoink!
And I have such an amazing fiance, she let me go and grab it and bring it in. I don't know if I'm going to keep it myself. It's... I'm awesome.
Are you going to give it away for Christmas?
I might give it away to somebody, or
Pat's like, I like that.
But I was just struck. I'm like, man, this thing is not only is it a piece of history, it's a really expensive kit, and someone's just throwing it out. Like, someone's going to want this.
I'm sure it's whoever threw it out didn't realize how much that thing's worth.
Must be, but I mean, it was. Like, it wasn't destroyed or anything. It actually was, like, most of the tube is put together. This thing sits almost 2 feet tall.
Someone did put it together.
Yeah, someone put it together. And it came with the booklet with all the instructions on how to assemble it. Some of the other pieces for, like, the lander and whatnot that go on the inside. There are some pieces that are not assembled, but I think I got the pieces in this bag. So I'm just like... Man, come on. So, yeah, I kind of tangentially in the same way Battlestar is, but this is like a real engineering marvel of the, Apollo rocket program, a Saturn V rocket. So, yeah, that was kind of my dropship.
That's awesome.
Even though I won't take credit for assembling the thing. But like I said, it was really cool in a weird way.
Some kid right now is crying because his mom threw out his stuff.
I guess so. I didn't see anyone dive into the dumpster. I can kind of see it from my apartment, so I was like keeping an eye. It's like no one's running around screaming or anything.
You'd be like, I got it.
Yeah, I would give it back in a heartbeat if it belonged to somebody that they still wanted it, but. Like, I can't just watch this thing get thrown out into the garbage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'll if nothing else, I'll rehome it so it finds its way to somebody that'll appreciate it.
That's neat.
But yeah. I think that about wraps up the dropship. Like I said, I've probably got a few more Star Saga and Mantic projects in the works, but if I feel that bug, I'll see about breaking out that ExFil.End kit next time. start putting that baby together.
I would definitely love to see that thing together.
For sure. Well, with that, I think we're going to head on over to the ComStar section of the show.
Message from ComStar.
All right, welcome to ComStar. So this is the section of the show where we talk about TVs, movies, books, comics, video games, like everything and anything that falls under the Mecha spectrum that we are either enjoying or engrossed in or, casually watching. So I'm going to throw it over to Pat this time to start us off.
I think not too much as far as the reading either, but I have been... this is long overdue for me and Rob, and I've been finishing up the... Oh, for God's sakes. Is it the Primacy? Not Primacy.
Primacy, yeah. Primacy.
Yeah, it is Primacy. Comic books from the Transformers that we've been doing. I was able to get a new tablet, so... Excuse me.
Corona.
Yeah. I've been... so I got a new tablet, so I've been able to... read the digital comic books that I got a little easier than on my desktop, and I can read it while I'm in bed.
Yeah,
That's
for sure. You need a tablet to read comic books on, like digital.
Yeah, so that book is fairly long, so I've been kind of tapping it out when my tablet doesn't smash me in the face when I fall asleep.
Yeah, I've had that happen. I can't deny it.
Yeah, same.
I'm debating whether or not getting the digital third book from that Ashley Mad Dog series that I've been reading. I finished 1 and 2 a while ago. We talked about that last episode, but now I'm debating whether or not just to get the third book, or do a digital version. I mean, I'm still old school. I prefer to have the paper in hand. But I also have this new tablet now, and I should probably use it.
I'm all digital now. I have a Kindle and I have a tablet, so I never use real books.
I want to finish up the series, and then I do want to read our good friend Bear Ross's books after that, too. So,
for sure.
But most of my time has been preoccupied with taking of the Primacy Transformer IDW.
Yeah, Primacy.
So...
Yeah, hopefully we'll get another Mobile Armor Radio reads out of it. It's been about a year since we did it last, but everything keeps happening, so.
Yeah, and then another thing I've been doing has been still grasping my Battletech books. Now I've moved on into the mercenary books, and now I kind of want to paint up a mercenary lance.
They're fun.
So, I mean, look forward to that. I mean, I got a lot of things. I always have a lot of grandiose ideas. Life gets in the way. I need to be retired.
Yeah, don't we all?
So,
well, I sort of am retired right now.
Yeah. So, but that's all I got, and not a whole lot again.
Okay. Well, how about you, Rob?
I'll continue on with that Bear Ross. I'm on book 2. He just put out the audiobook of it, but I'm reading the Kindle version. So I'm I'd say about a quarter of the way through. Pretty fun. This one's a lot more adventurous, a lot more going out into the world, and it's really fun. The first book was great, and I read the whole thing, and it was, at first you think the main character is really annoying, but you realize she is annoying, but that's just who she is, and you kind of come to appreciate everyone else around her, at least. And, yeah, it's really good. Really, really good. Like, the world building is amazing, and I definitely want a tabletop game based in this world, either the combat or the other stuff. Just the way he describes all the like all the mechs and all the other monsters and stuff. I'd love to see miniatures of it all. So hopefully he's a 3D printer guy too. So hopefully maybe he's working on that kind of stuff. So I would like to.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah. Other than that, I finished Clone Wars on Disney Plus, and that the last, I think it's 3 or 4 episodes was like one long movie, and it was amazing. Yeah, it's the best Star Wars movie ever. Like, it was great. There might be mechs in it. I'm sure there is. I think there is, actually. I think there's some walkers in it. So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. And it's, if you're gonna watch any Clone Wars, well, you kind of have to watch the whole thing to get really the emotional impact at the end, but.
Yeah, you definitely.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a watch order where you only watch the ones that are important, because there is a lot of filler Clone Wars episodes for sure over the whole series. So I'm sure there's, if you look online.
Man up and watch it all.
Yeah, I would say it's the best Star Wars that there is currently, like ever since Empire. I put it above even Ewoks. So
it's definitely one of those that you really could put in the background if you had something else you're working on. You can kind of have it, and because I mean the episodes
they're short.
They're short. They are kind of designed for kids as well. So
at the beginning, I don't think by the end they are.
It gets pretty mature.
Yeah.
Not in overly violent or anything like that.
I don't know. There's some violent stuff too.
There's some pretty violent moments.
I have to say, is Darth Maul throwing things through clone troopers is pretty violent.
Yeah, it's Star Wars. Of course, there's dismemberment.
Yeah,
I mean, that's been there since day one.
That's true.
But no, I think it gets like storytelling and character arcs and very very in depth series when it really hits its stride.
Yeah.
So it is. I also watched that. I agree with you, Rob. Where you do kind of have to watch majority of the Clone Wars TV show. Yeah. I would say to get the full impact.
The emotional impacts, yeah.
The emotional impact.
You get the story, but yeah, to understand the relationships between all these people and when things happen, you're like, it's heartbreaking and...
Yeah.
Yeah. So good. But watch that and then watch Rebels. And I would watch all of Clone Wars, then Rebels, because Rebels kind of ruins a bit for Clone Wars because they did them out of order. And I would definitely watch Clone Wars, then Rebels, so... And Rebels starts off really kiddie, and you're like, oh, this is stupid. But by the end, you're like, oh, this is amazing. So I would stick with that.
Well, both of those shows, really.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Like, Clone Wars started in, like, 2004 or something like that. It's so old that I don't remember most of the early episodes. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to rewatch the old episodes again.
Yeah.
I think the cartoon movie that started that, not the Tartakovsky one.
Yeah.
But, like, the CG 3D animated ones. Those started, I want to say, was it 2 years after Attack of the Clones?
Yeah, it's like long time ago. Yeah.
Maybe 04, 05?
Yeah.
I should look it up.
But it's definitely worth it if anybody hasn't watched Clone Wars. You think, I don't want to get into it. It's way better than the prequels. It actually redeems the prequels, and it's way better than the sequels. So. And
if you like the Mandalorian TV show...
Yeah.
Not to make this the Star Wars podcast.
Yeah.
But if you like the Mandalorian show, it's the same showrunner. Dave Filoni is one of the big driving forces of the Clone Wars TV show. And we're supposed to see some characters from Clone Wars showing up there. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, it's like you have to watch that to understand who these people are probably. So we'll see. I'm excited, but we'll see. I've also read more of the Transformers comics, more of the spotlights and some of the side ones, and it's still fun. It's the IDW original continuity we're reading through. They rebooted it since then, and it's really deep and pretty interesting. Trying to read it in order too it's interesting to read it in order, knowing what's going to happen later for some of the stuff. So it's fun reading. And that was just once again recently on Humble Bundle, I believe, cheap. So just keep an eye out for that. I think it's on Comixology super cheap regularly. So if you want to get into the IDW comics, check those things out. Other than that, video games. I haven't played any mech video games. It's Civ, but even that's really even then I haven't played that much Civ. I've been playing like a World War II card game. That's all I play now. So
nice.
Yeah. So in that, I think that's it for me. No movies or TV shows. Mosquito was the last one I watched, so that's it.
Gotcha.
What about you, Ryan?
Well, I won't dive any more into the Clone Wars, but like I said, I did finish that series, which was also kind of a fun spark for that Star Saga project that I had. But then I've actually been slowly making my way through Patlabor.
Oh, I've been trying to start that again too.
Yeah, I got the nice Blu-ray set that they put out a couple months. Has it been a year?
Yeah.
The live action one you're talking about? Or are you talking about the cartoon?
It's got everything, doesn't it?
This is still the anime.
Is it anime? doesn't have the live action ones in there?
I don't think it has the live action.
I thought it had everything, yeah.
It's got all of the animated stuff. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've been making my way through the TV show, currently. I think I had finished the OVA series, the like first set, which, Patlabor is a fascinating show because it's got really cool mecha designs.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you like the Jagans from Gundam, like I feel like the design was lifted right off of the Ingrams. Though I have no good idea on the timeline.
Yeah, that would have been very similar. First. Yeah, because those are later in Gundam, but Patlabor is pretty old. Yeah,
I think Jagans first showed up in Char's Counterattack.
Yeah, so I think that was after for sure.
Race.
Yeah, I think that was after Patlabor though, especially the manga. Yeah. Who knows when the manga of that came out?
Oh yeah, but it's for those that are not familiar. Basically, it's like a cops, a TV. An anime about police officers who have kind of a mecha unit, which sounds really awesome and epic.
It's a buddy cop show.
It's a buddy cop show, but it's the fun twist is like how mundane, like that whole concept is, where it's like, hey, there's some guys in mecha suits that work at a construction yard. They're fighting over something. Go break them up. And it's like, you go there and say, hey, stop fighting. And then we fill out paperwork. It is that fascinating thing where within the world itself, like the mecha are really, mundane and commonplace. And,
utilitarian and,
Yeah, exactly. And so it's a fascinating show from that perspective. Really fun, creative mecha designs. Like it definitely has that kind of flavor that you'd see of like a Ghost in the Shell, like a Shiro Masamune kind of mecha style, but it feels really 80s.
Well, yeah, where you are now for sure.
Yeah, especially in the TV show. I am looking forward to making my way through that completely. It's like 50 episodes long. And I think I might be coming up on halfway. And, actually, probably not. I think I'm still in the teens. But after that, like, the set does include some of the animated movies that were made. And one of them is by Mamoru Oshii, who directed the original Ghost in the Shell movie. And very famous and well received and critically acclaimed director. If you've seen most anime movies, like at least one of them is probably going to be something he worked on. So I'm excited to see that. I think they've got some really cool concepts that come to life a lot better than they would necessarily in like the TV show. So yeah, I think that's kind of been the big thing that I've been enjoying in kind of the mecha area right now. I finished reading the Ancillary Justice book. I think I mentioned last time, where it was like the AI, like multi-perspective concept of a book. Really weird and fascinating fun. I've since shifted to fantasy for a little bit, kind of taking a little breather from sci-fi before diving back into that, which I'm sure will happen soon. But yeah, I think that about covers a lot of the mecha stuff that I've been consuming lately. Haven't been reading many comics or playing many video games related to it as of right now.
Yeah, comics right now are, unless you're getting old stuff, there's nothing new coming out soon.
Yeah.
I've actually heard, I'm pretty sure the Robotech comic has been canceled now at this point. I know that
has it?
Well, a lot of these companies are in trouble, and I think that one, the writer got really sick with COVID, so,
oh, jeez.
I think he recovered fine, but I don't think they continued with the comic. It was so far behind, and that's what I heard.
He's just not up to writing right now.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if that comes back. But we're waiting for everything, like, just slowly coming back. Transformers comics, too. It's been a long time, so...
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, hopefully everything gets restarted here. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Wish everybody the best in that respect. But with that, I think we can move on to the MechBay Hanger and kind of our big round table topic of the month.
Now entering the MechBay Hanger.
Okay, so welcome to the MechBay Hanger, and like I had mentioned previously, this is kind of where we take a topic to discuss kind of around the horn here. Whatever topic we decide to pick for the month. And today's topic, we decided on mecha game genres. Now, I was kind of focusing mostly on video games, but I'm, if people have some ideas on other options and tabletop or what have you, that's also really cool. But basically, what I'd like to kind of go through is the different genres that we really see mecha show up in, and that we've really enjoyed seeing mecha in. And so, whether it be tabletop, RTS, real-time strategy, turn-based, first-person type games, RPGs, things like that. So, kind of wanted to just kind of open it up to discuss some of our favorites within those different genres, and kind of go from there. So, I'll throw it over to Rob. I think it's your turn. Do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, the first mech game I ever played, and probably really early on in any kind of mech thing involved, other than maybe Robotech, was MechWarrior 2. And that was a first-person sort of sim game. It was, back then you were thinking, wow, this looks amazing, and now you look at it, it just blocks, like... And I was young. I was probably 14 probably when that came out. And it would be me and my friend. One of us would drive and the other one would shoot because it was like too complicated for us. Like back then, we were playing on like a freaking Amiga or whatever it is, a Commodore 64, I think it was. And so that was the very first thing I was introduced to. But I'm not a fan of first-person shooters personally. I do have MechWarrior 5 and I've played it a few times, but I don't like the hectic nature of it. So for me, for video games, for sure, I'm much more turn-based kind of guys. I don't like real-time strategy for the same reason. I don't like being forced to be fast. I like to think out my things. And, so games I actually play, like Battletech, is RTS, or turn-based, I really like that. But I would love for an RPG, though, like a nice, like Final Fantasy and like Gundam or something. I would die for that, but it just doesn't get made, right? Like, anybody know of any mecha RPGs on video games wise? Like, obviously there's tons of pen and paper, but... Yeah,
no, I don't think I know. So there's not even a comparison. Like, if you went to, say, old school Eye of the Beholder or Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, even something like that'd be fun.
Yeah.
As far as computer games are concerned, I mean, there is MechWarrior, the tabletop.
Yeah. Well, especially one like Mech, we do often find Mecha like in kind of that strategy area where it is kind of like turn-based or real-time.
Yeah.
In kind of more of a commander type situation. So the RPG one was kind of the big challenge in my mind. Is like, okay, let's find some, because I'm sure they're out there.
Yeah, like even some of the later Final Fantasy, maybe there's like, obviously you fight giant robots and stuff, but there's never one that you get to control a giant robot.
So
that I can remember of.
There's one that comes to mind where this is PlayStation 2 era, a game called Xenosaga. Where a lot of the characters, some of them have, it's pronounced eggs, but it's like AGWS. But basically, like within combat, you can summon a giant mecha to be your combatant. Basically, they just hop into the pilot seat and take over, and like from that they can do like a whole bunch more damage and all sorts of things. So like that was one that like struck me as as an example of where it is, for the most part, kind of that traditional JRPG where you got characters that run around, they fight, they level up, random or semi-random battles, but it has that component where it's like, okay, my characters can now, hop into a mecha, and that's what our fight is going to then take place in. Won't lie, that series gets strange. The first one is like, thus spoke Zarathustra. Like, it's very Nietzsche. A Japanese interpretation of Nietzsche.
Yeah.
Who thus spoke? I thus spoke.
And I think Mary Magdalene is an android robot lady. It's weird. It gets crazy.
Well, those translated original like JRPGs, man. Some of those translations, I don't know if it was a translation or just Japanese people are insane, but sometimes you're just like, what is going on? Like,
what is going on?
Yeah, for sure.
But that was one that I always remember as kind of fitting into that space in a fun way. But any other ones? Pat, do you have any in kind of different genres that you really enjoy? Or even just kind of like, oh man, there's this one game that's kind of an odd duck that doesn't fit really well into any of these.
No, I've been always been straightforward. I mean, I started, my first delve into mech was the cartoon, the Gundam, and then moved quickly into Battletech because of the box, giant the box. With the cardboard stand, so I think I always just gravitate towards the tabletop war games themselves, or mechs as far as it's concerned, and that in itself leads to the models. And, I do enjoy the various cartoons and the movies and stuff, but if you were to go to my basement, you would probably see just a ton of mechs, models, unpainted. Computer minis, various stages of painted plastic minis for the various games that I attempt to play. I did dabble a little bit with some computer games, like Rob said with MechWarrior, and I don't hate the first person shooter MechWarrior. As a matter of fact, I quite enjoy that version because you get to actually drive the mech, and I was even part of a MechWarrior clan when was it MechWarrior? It wasn't MechWarrior 2, maybe it was MechWarrior 3.
When it went online eventually?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4, somewhere in there, yeah.
So I was part of a MechWarrior clan on that multiplayer platform for the longest time. So I don't know if I have a favorite. I just like mechs. I mean, I don't have a
favorite way to play them.
Yeah, I don't have a. I don't know what the word I'm trying to use. An aversion to first-person shooters or RTSs like Rob does. I actually like the RTSs and the first-person shooter mech games too. As far as that's concerned, and then I didn't play any RPGs though. As far as like tabletop dice, dice for RPGs of MechWarrior. Surprisingly enough, I never did. So you used to say never say never. I mean, Catalyst did Catalyst bring that out again?
Yeah, they did twice. They did A Time of War was the RPG, and now they're doing Destiny, which is the new one, which will be coming with the Kickstarter, I believe.
Does it have times in it? Because then we're just going to scratch that right out.
I'm sure you can play not, like anything, you can play not in the clan era. Like, yeah.
What is it, 2035? That's the magic, or 2065?
No, 2050 is when the clans invade. Or 3050, yes. 3050.
Yeah, I know it's 30-something, so anything before that is golden.
Yeah, there's other ones, like, for RPGs, like, there's Mechton from, Artalosaurian, I believe. I think it's that game. I've never played it. I have it, but I never played it. Old Palladium, the Robotech RPG, and there's a new one.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the old the Robotech RPG.
And we have the new one too from who does that one? I can't remember.
Oh, Jesus.
We have them. We just haven't played them.
Yeah, we got that one.
I have a Time of War and the original Mech Warrior too.
Is it like not WizKids, but it's something like that, right?
WizKids owns the rights to it, and Catalyst makes it.
I'm gonna get out of this chair tomorrow.
Yeah, I have it right there. I just don't want to stand up. The new one's like Solar. Is it Solar Flare? It's one of those. There's so many people who have the license to Robotech now. It's hard to remember who actually does the RPG. It's either Solar Flare or who's the other one?
It is funny how it's gone from like, one company had the rights to it, and it was so like restrictive and tight. And now it's just like, anyone can have it. You can have a license.
So the version that we got robbed just recently was Strange Machine Games.
Yeah, that's right, Strange Machine, that's right. That's the new one. Yeah, well, Harmony Gold licensed, after Palladium's license was up, they were able to license out to all these other people. So now everybody is making a game for it, which is good. Cause
they shotgun shelled it. They just started the shotgun everywhere.
And so far, all of them are very good. Like, it's like there was like a dam that burst, and all these people had all these ideas for Robotech games that they're coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Mech skirmish games, like I guess technically Battletech can be a skirmish game, but they have that new Gundam game that's people have been working on too, which is Gundam at 28mm height.
Oh yeah, you've been posting pictures of that. I'm very intrigued by that thing.
Yeah, there's people working on it. They're trying to get the license for it and put it out, which would be very cool. I would be very excited about that.
I remember taking pictures of that and following that Facebook group.
Yeah, they've been around for sure. But yeah, RPGs on video game though, that's like an untapped resource. Like even Shadowrun by Harebrained, who did the Battletech one, is much more of an RPG. Like, I wish there was more like the Shadowrun games in the Battletech universe. That'd be really fun too. But,
yeah.
I guess you could call that Battletech game slightly RPG because you do have to follow
sort of.
There's a storyline going on.
Yeah, but you could say the same thing about the way you run even the tabletop game. You could run it like an RPG, sort of, if you keep track of everything, right? Not just one-off battles. But actual, I want actual like storyline RPG, like old school. But alas, not so much.
Yeah, it is something where it does seem like that genre is probably mostly in that PlayStation 1 to 2 era. It's really hard to find things that have kind of taken that concept and ran with it. I know one that comes to mind, I think I mentioned it a couple times on the show previously, that's kind of close. It still kind of fits more into a turn-based strategy game, is Front Mission 3, and the Front Mission series in general. Basically, it's kind of like a Final Fantasy Tactics, where it's grid-based, and you're moving guys around. It's that one's PlayStation 1 era. I still think it's actually a lot of fun, but you go through a big kind of narrative campaign that I think there's 2 branching stories to it, and it branches pretty early on, from what I remember. I've only ever completed one, and I don't think I've even found a strategy guide online that walks you through the second storyline.
It's one of those ones that throws you in the deep end and just, you figure it out.
Yeah, it's something where it's like, okay, you have to like complete, it's one of those where you have to complete a challenge quick enough. I think you have to be on a second playthrough as well, but it's like, you have to have this moment and capitalize on it fast enough, and you can start down this other path. Which is pretty cool. But that one was, it was, kind of had those JRPG kind of motifs to them.
Would you consider Heavy Gear, the video games, a video RPG?
I've never played them.
I haven't either.
I only played the one on PlayStation.
Okay.
Was it Heavy Gear Solid?
Oh,
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear, you mean?
What am I thinking of?
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear? I don't know. I don't remember.
Heavy
The
Gear is the
Solid
Heavy Gear is the other mech game, the other skirmish mech game. But Metal Gear, with what's the name of that robot at the end? You have to fight.
Metal Gear Rex.
Yeah, that big giant thing. Yeah,
Yeah, I am thinking of Metal Gear because it was Konami and it was
it's
PlayStation.
But you can never be the mech. You're always fighting him.
Well,
Aren't you in a mech?
Not the ones I've ever played.
not until the fourth game.
Is it fourth one? Yeah.
But no, the Metal Gear Solid franchise is another one that kind of, I think, is forgotten that it is very much a mecha series, because most of the emphasis is on this kind of stealth action game. But at its heart and soul, a big conflict is the proliferation of these mecha suits, and eventually they're replacing soldiers and stuff like that, and then they get hacked, and we're gonna do the Cold War real quick, but with giant mecha. And no, that is definitely a fascinating franchise to check out, especially if you're. It's a little heady. I think
it was Metal Gear Solid. It was on PlayStation 1 first.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I played the first one.
It's a franchise, if you do decide to go try those games out and you've never played them before, just a word of caution that the mechanics, the actual playing of the games is very challenging through the early games. By the end, by the fourth game, I would even say, they really nailed the controls finally.
Yeah, it's like playing the original Tomb Raider, trying to play that again. It's just this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and it's hard. That game, the stealth mechanic, you're running around Alaska and you leave footprints in the snow. Yeah. Well, if you're not careful, the guards are going to see your footprints and go, whose footprints are these? And suddenly...
you have to hide in boxes, and
Yeah. But it's still a great franchise. It survives on its ego, but I don't mean that in a bad way. It really, entrenches itself in this world that it creates, where characters are larger than life, and they have crazy code names like Vulcan Raven, and he's got a giant Gatling gun.
What's the one? Ocelot? Something Ocelot?
Revolver Ocelot.
Yeah, that's great.
Ocelot.
What a great name.
Decoy Octopus.
Yeah,
Psycho Mantis.
I do love their names.
Liquid Snake.
Was Psycho Mantis the one you had to beat by turning off the PlayStation?
You had to plug in the controller
that's
to
right.
the second
port. Yeah, that's right.
That's a little spoiler.
Spirit?
Yeah, that's that. It was how the hell did you beat this guy? He knows all your moves, and you had to switch the controller to the second port.
Yeah,
no, it was the X-Men.
Read your memory card.
Yep, the X-Men game is the one that you had to turn off when you're fighting Mojo. I think it is. You had to actually turn off the system, and it's what? Yeah, it's crazy. Good old days when they had inventive gameplay. What about Titanfall? Anybody actually play Titanfall?
I've been meaning to. I know the first game.
I played it for a little bit.
Is that third person, right?
It is third person, because you can run on the walls and then you can jump on other people's mechs and try and.
Yeah, I've never played it. I was just curious.
Is it first person for part of it, and then third person?
I don't think so. I think it's third person all the way.
It was back in the what was that game? It's kind of not Halo. What's the other game that came out at the same time with those big muscular guys? Same kind of game where it's third over the shoulder kind of gameplay. Anyways, that was
Gears of War.
Gears of War, yeah, that's what it might be. Yeah.
Yes, it was very much Gears of War.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Where you're sticking to trying to stay to the cover and then jumping on mechs and trying. I've never played it, but I've just seen it played. I was just curious.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I didn't enjoy it enough to keep playing it.
Yeah,
because it was a shooter.
I do believe that the second game does have a lot more single player content.
Oh, yeah.
So if you
Yeah, and that's the thing I didn't like about it. There was not an option for me just to play by myself because,
all
I'm
multiplayer.
It just sucks.
Yeah. And playing 13-year-olds who just beat you all the time is no fun.
So speaking of like the third person action genre and whatnot, we've actually got quite a few entries in the Mecha franchise. So you got things like Armored Core.
Yeah, that's right.
The Gundam versus game series. And
I forgot about Armored Core. I played Armored Core on the PlayStation too.
Yep. I did as well. Like I think Armored Core 3 was my favorite, which was PlayStation 2. Sadly, I think that franchise has really kind of gone the way of the dodo. I can't think of the last time I've heard about Armored Core. But it was a really fun game series. Like it was, the kind where you have all the different parts and you really get to customize your mech. And then take it into battle. I had a full campaign to play through single player. I had some split screen multiplayer, just kind of matchups. I remember reading in PlayStation Magazine, they had competitions for Armored Core, and they would show what the builds were that the competitors and how well they placed. I'm like, this is the coolest thing ever. But I'm trying to think of all the Gundam.
Well, isn't there almost like a fighting game with Gundams?
There is a fighting game. I played that with my nephew, and I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah,
it was right around the time when Gundam Wing came.
Yeah, and it was
yeah, there was the 2D like a Street Fighter-esque Gundam Wing game.
Oh, was there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely existed.
Because I saw him playing. I'm like, wait, are you playing Gundam? And then he looked at me like I was an idiot. Like, yeah, that's Gundam Wing. I'm like, how do you know Gundam? That cartoon, I was just a hair older than you when that cartoon came out.
Gundam has found its way into all sorts of different genres. In the early days of the Nintendo, even they had a lot of SD Gundam games, and it was SD mostly just to simplify the graphics. But I know I've played a couple ports of Japanese. Unfortunately, it was a lot of Japanese only games. They never made it stateside, but where you could play through the story of the first Gundam series, but you're controlling where your characters are going and fighting Zakus and stuff, and then you switch to a different screen where it becomes more of an action game. And then you've got the Gundam Dynasty Warriors series. I know I mentioned Gundam Versus earlier. There's Gundam Breaker is basically the video game version of the Build Fighters games or the Build Fighters TV anime.
Yeah.
And then I know I've got the 0081 was a Japanese import Gundam game where it takes place kind of between shows, but it's much more of a real mech, a mech warrior kind of game, but in the Universal Central timeline.
That's cool.
So
yeah, I'm sure. Japan. I'm sure there's tons. The fighting game I'm thinking of is called Battle Assault, Gundam Battle Assault.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I looked up Gundam video games, and there's hundreds of them. But you say, most of them are just in Japan. Arcades, there's 30 arcade cabinets. We never got that over here.
No, the closest you guys have was the Battletech pods.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, which was pretty much just Mech Warrior 2.
Yeah, they still show up at Gen Con.
Yep.
I think there was some at the Ohio Origins, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're around that area. I think that's why you get them. They're from the Chicago kind of area, I think. So,
yeah.
Out of the Midwest, you get the pod showing up because they don't travel too far because you can imagine.
Yeah.
What a pain in the butt. We were not last Gen Con, Gen Con before. We were setting up for Mantic right near them, and just seeing what they had to do to set up those pods, they're all networked through old computers and trying to. They had such a hard time trying to troubleshoot all the problems with them. at the time they're cutting edge, but they're probably 30 years old now.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. They're still cool though.
But yeah, so there's a plethora of games out there, especially Gundam.
What about VR? You get some VR games. That's the future.
Yes.
It would be nice to see some VR Gundam, but I don't know if we have any, do we?
Yeah, you go to Steam. If you go to Steam, I bet you find some VR mech games.
I think there's some on Steam. I want to say there might be a couple on the PlayStation 4. Because I know there's at least one like space combat VR game that's always intrigued me. I can't think of the name of it right now, but I think that'd be a really fun thing to see. Is a nice big variety of mecha games kind of making their way to the forefront again.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see a little more RPGs. And does Pacific Rim have an RPG?
Does Pacific Rim have any video game? They probably do. I'm sure they probably had one.
Do they
have a tabletop RPG?
Oh yeah, you have it. Not RPG. You have the.
They have a tabletop or
I'm talking about role play.
No, not that I know of. Yeah, that would be because it does have a pretty really rich cool. world. Yeah,
that's a colorful world. It's already sculpted out in two decent movies,
and it has a lot of like underground, like especially the second one where you really see people like fighting for the resources and trying to break into places to steal stuff to make their mechs better. Kind of that would be fun.
You could do that, or even the underground market for kaiju.
Yeah. You go out and try to. Yeah, that's an idea.
A really compelling mechanic too of the two pilot system, mm-hmm. and it's like, okay, this is our compatibility. This is our this is our strength.
You have to figure out a drift system. So
that'd be so cool.
Listens and is really into making their own RPGs. Have at it. You could.
Yeah, even if you have NPC with drifting or even 2 players, that'd be fun.
Shoot it over to Guillermo, and he might go for it. Now, that guy seems to like to go for crazy things.
Well, it's also Legendary owns it, and Legendary also owns Geek and Sundry, which are obviously big on tabletop games. So there is definitely a crossover. If someone actually made that game, and they probably could sell it to Legendary pretty easily.
Yeah, I think there is a Pacific Rim game that came out with the first movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
That was just kind of like a not 2D battle game, but it was kind of like it's Gypsy Danger versus a kaiju. You just kind of redo the fights,
mm-hmm.
but as a video game.
Oh yeah, it's like a fighting game. It looks really great, but I'm sure it's pretty simple. 360. It's for Xbox 360.
Yeah, so it's been a little while.
Yeah, there's definitely a video game out there and I'm just looking here online, and there's a lot of Reddit questions about anyone who's got a role-playing system for Pacific Rim.
Yeah. So it's definitely a open market. Yeah.
Well, cool. I think this has been a really fun discussion. If anyone in the comments below, wow, my cat is... I've got a new kitten, and he is trying to be a spider monkey, jumping all over my apartment. But if anyone has any examples of games that kind of fit into a fun or unique genre that we haven't covered yet, by all means leave comments in the section below. I know there's a whole bunch of other like turn-based mecha games like Into the Breach.
Mm-hmm.
And even as a newer game, I know there's plenty of classics that we haven't mentioned on the show that are likely to be out there. Like I think there's even some Japanese like Macross games.
There's definitely. I know there was cabinet games for Macross and Robotech.
Yeah.
So. Kind of like Galaga, or not Galaga, R-Type. There's one that game very much like R-Type, another one top-down, which is more like 1942 or some of those games.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's definitely those.
The RPG seems to be the one kind of elusive one, but I know they're out there. And so if anyone in the comments, has some really neat examples of mecha within their RPGs.
If you even heard of an RPG that's mech-based that we never even heard of.
Yeah, let us know for sure, because I'd be interested in that stuff. There's so many, especially with Steam nowadays, there's so many games out there that are like not AAA titles that you never hear of. Like even Into the Breach, I would never heard of that if Pat didn't introduce me to it. So I'm sure there's games out there we don't know of that are interesting and fun. So let us know, please. Yeah,
and then I was just thinking about that the other day. Like I added a whole bunch of like Mecha type games on to my Steam wish list that are even just like, hey, you control a stompy robot that's moving across the screen, like in like a Metal Slug-esque kind of game. So they're definitely out there, and we would love to know more of them. So feel free to leave us a message in the comments and share with our friends. But with that, I think we are gonna wrap up the episode. Let's head to the ExFil.
Let's ExFil out of here.
Dude, I watched Terminator Dark Fate.
Oh, did you?
It's good.
Oh yeah, you liked it?
I really liked it.
I haven't seen it.
I don't know if that's going to be included in the show, but check out Terminator Dark Fate. If you like Terminator 1 and 2, I think you'll like Dark Fate. Anyway, ExFil. This is the part where I stop talking about stuff.
Stop talking about Terminator movies.
And we start putting a wrap on things. So thank you guys for checking out the podcast. And, rate and review us wherever you find us. You can follow us on Twitter. We're on Facebook as well. We got a fun little social group there that we like to discuss all sorts of things. If you're interested in a game or you have an idea, drop by in the community. I'm sure we got plenty of folks that are going to be welcoming and encouraging for whatever you got to share. So, yeah.
100%.
Cool. Well, with that, wow, year 2, huh?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Going on to year 3.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to reach out to some sponsors. We need to get some Gunpla given to us.
Find local material. Battletech guys, shout out to us again.
Anybody, yeah. Jeez.
The Cav guys, that'd be sweet. I love seeing all the updates from them. One of these days, I'll play that game system. It looks like a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun.
But yeah, so if you know anybody that'd be willing to sponsor our show,
we're
even an episode, put us in contact.
Yeah, we're not beyond begging.
No,
we'll sell out in an instant. Don't even tempt us.
Yes, we've already sold.
Yeah,
yes.
We wish.
You've said hello. Yes, we'll do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd love to do some more stuff with our community. I think in the future, we got a lot of great content going forward here. So with that, I think we'll put a wrap on this. So I've been Brian.
And I've been Chopper.
And I'm Rob.
Thank you all for joining us. Have a great night.
See you guys again soon. Hopefully we won't let the COVID let us forget to let you guys know we dropped.
Yeah.
Not just because we dropped on the right time and you just didn't post it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's always the first of the month, people. It's first of the
so
month.
if your feeds are correct, then you don't need us. But if you are waiting for us, then prepare to be disappointed.
Yeah, just subscribe. It's a lot easier.
This has been Mobile Armor Radio. Join our Facebook group by searching for Mobile Armor Radio. Find us on Twitter @MArmorRadio. Find us on iTunes and visit our website, mobilearmorradio.podbean.com. Join us on the first of every month for more Mecha discussion.